Hi there. Welcome to another vinyl update. Big stack of records. Um, went to Amsterdam today with wife and a kid, and decided to stop at both a record store and a thrift store. They're in the same neighborhood. Um, Managed to pick up some really cool stuff, and I had some stuff already, so it's it's a huge stack. So let's get cracking with these. Um, Three new records. Two of them are reissues. One of them is a new release, but actually not. I'll explain. First one, this is Massive Attack versus the Mad Professor Part 2, the Mezzanine Remix tapes, 1998. These are remixes for the Mezzanine album by Massive Attack, done by the Mad Professor, together with Massive Attack, I guess. I don't know. Haven't listened to this one yet. Some beautiful purple vinyl. Uh, but the remix album they did previously, somewhere in the 90s, I forgot the title. That's a really good one. So I'm really looking forward to this dubby, spacey remixes of tracks by Massive Attack. So that should be interesting. The next, excuse me, the next two are reissues of albums that weren't really on my radar until they were announced. And I was like, oh yeah, I really like that band, and they're being reissued by Music on Vinyl. So I thought, let's do it. We're talking Malleco. This is Malleco's first album, Do You Like My Tight Sweater, from 1995 originally. This is a reissue that came out a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know. It's on turquoise vinyl, double album. Originals for these are pretty expensive. Um, they go like 3 times the price of the reissue. It's still affordable, I should say, but this is a nice, glossy, well-looking reissue of a great album. Malleco are, I don't know, they're sort of trip-hoppy, sort of funky, soulful, dance music-y. I don't know. It's kind of a weird mix. They're not full-on trip-hop. They're not full-on... it's being labeled acid jazz as well. It's kind of jazzy, soulful, but with a drum and bass and trip-hop vibe to it. Also picked up their second album, originally from 1998. This is a nice looking package. Originally, this one goes for about 150 bucks, euros that is. It's a gatefold double album, but it's kind of a weird one. This has a flap that goes like this. The record comes out here, and the second disc comes out here, and it's white vinyl. I don't need to show the first record because they're both white. This one is called I Am Not a Doctor. And this one had, if I'm not mistaken, Sing It Back on it, which was a huge hit for them. Again, soulful, dancey, trip hop, electronic stuff. Good stuff. There's two more coming. One has been announced, one hasn't yet. I'll get both of those as well. Now on to secondhand finds. It's a mix of, they're all thrift stores, but there's one thrift store that sells their records not because they're donated, but they're part of someone's collection, so they're a little bit pricier than a normal thrift store record. It's also better curated, let's just say that. So that's the last stack, but the first 8 records are just like a buck. Starting off with the third album by Tavares. This is in the City from 1979. I believe 75, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, and this one features It Only Takes a Minute. This is a good album. Uh, pre disco, I would say. It's kind of a disco sound, but it's not disco yet. But yeah, this is an enjoyable album. If you love your soul, kind of funky, disco-y, this is an amazing record. Keeper of the Castle by the Four Tops from 1972. Love the artwork. This is a great painting. The back is also amazing. US pressing, thick cardboard sleeve, and I love my US presses. It's got a insert with a picture and some info on the tracks. And it's got an original ABC Dunhill inner sleeve. And I always love those inner sleeves. Original company inner sleeves, that is. Good, funky soul of a band that was previously on Motown. This was their first record on ABC Dunhill. Good stuff. I really, really like the Four Tops. I'm going to show this one, but I don't know if I'm going to play it. I'm going to hopefully be able to show you why. This is Diana Ross's Baby It's Me. Also, no, not also. This is from 1977. Comes with a pretty beat up inner sleeve, but it has, as you can see it here, something hot was put on there and it melted the record. I should check the records, didn't. So I'm not gonna keep this. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and I lost here. Because I really like Diana Ross, but I cannot play a melted record, can I? It's not warped, it's like kind of melted. Well, what are you gonna do about it? I got a whole bunch of 80s R&B and soul stuff right now. This is Lilo Thomas with the album Lilo. This is his third album from 1987, and it's decent. 80s R&B, kind of like an electro vibe to it. It's on Capitol. Funny thing is, I posted a picture of this on Instagram, and Mr. Thomas replied to it, giving it thumbs up. So that was fun. He's still going strong, I guess. Not releasing new albums or anything, but performing. And I never heard of the guy, but I really enjoyed it. So if I see his other albums, I might pick him up. Another group that I didn't quite hear from before is Starpoint. This is sensational. This one is from 87, and I believe, looking at Discogs and looking at websites, their earliest albums are from 1983. It's on Elektra. Sort of an electro funk vibe to it, probably a boogie vibe, but this is late 80s, so it's kind of like that. It's enjoyable, it's really fun, but it has that 80s sound, the late 80s sound, early 90s sound, which I think is still good, but not as good as. Same here. This is Starpoint's 1990 album. You hardly ever see 90s vinyl at thrift stores. This one is Have You Got What It Takes? I have not really listened to this one, but this is more of a New Jack Swing sounding record. It's got an original inner sleeve. It's on Elektra as well. It's probably enjoyable. I've only sampled bits and pieces, but not really listened to it. Looks like it's some water damage, but the record's fine. Then we got Vesta. This is Festal Williams. self-titled, well, not self-titled, it's called Festa. I love this hype sticker. Do yourself a favor, buy this record. How can you argue with that? This is on A&M Records, 1980 something, and I can't get the record back. It's 1986. The track Once Bitten, Twice Shy is on here. This track here, that's a well-known track, and sort of this electro-funk sound. Again, good stuff. I really enjoy this. And the last record, again, that late 80s sound that's enjoyable. It still leans on the mid 80s, early to mid 80s sound of R&B, and then it moves slowly into the more newer sounds, which is enjoyable, but not as much. Ian Foster, self-titled album from 1987 on MCA. I believe he's British, but I could be wrong. Why? Because his representation down there is in London. So yeah, Ian Foster. Don't know the guy. But that's fun, finding late 80s, early 90s records at a thrift store. The last batch, with the exception of the very last record, because I found that with these thrift store finds, but these thrift store finds were a little bit more expensive, but they're also higher profile, you could say. Starting off with the Commodores, Hot on the Tracks, 1976. Comes with it's a Dutch pressing. Comes with a little write-up on the Commodores. And in English and in Dutch. So that's pretty cool. I love those things. On Motown. And this is still when they were funky as hell. So Hot on the Tracks by the Commodores. Second, Train inspired sleeve that they did. This I had to pick up, even if it's late 70s, early 80s. Roy Ayers. This is Roy Ayers' Fever, 1979. Yes, it has the inner sleeve, but it's busted. It's on the wonderful Polydor. This could be a little bit more disco sounding, but it's still Roy Ayers. And that means it's still funky enough. Talking about funky, this is Mr. Rick James with Fire It Up, 1979 on Gordy. Inner. And here is Mr. James with some ladies and smoking a cigarette. I don't need to explain who Rick James is, do I? I don't think so. Got a couple more. This is the Isley Brothers with Winner Takes All. Double album. Gatefold sleeve. Some more pictures there, and this is on Epic, 1970, 79. Lots of 79 records here. Again, I don't need to explain who the Isley Brothers are. They're funky as hell. Soulful, funky. Good stuff. and some more funk. This is Brass Construction 3. I love this sleeve with the helmet. And here's the guys lifting the helmet up. We're talking 1977 here. It has an original United Artists inner sleeve. It is on United Artists. So brass construction, some funk, some good old-fashioned funk. And the last funk record, before I'm going to show you a special record, is this one. This is George Duke with Master of the Game. Years ago, I found a copy of this, which was beat to hell. I mean, the sleeve was, and I left it there. It was only $1. This was more expensive. It's a nicer condition. And I didn't pick it up. And when I came home, I listened to some samples, and I was like, oh my God. It's got samples that Daft Punk used. It's really, really cool. Inner sleeve. This one is 1979. So yeah, this one has samples. A song that's sampled, that was sampled by Daft Punk. I forgot the title. But Winner Takes All, Winner Takes All, Master of the Game, George Duke. Can't go wrong with George Duke. At all. Features Sheila E. on percussion as well. Now the last record, I already have a copy of this. I picked it up again. Why? Why not? I'm gonna answer Junkie XL's question. He did a video on a record that he always picks up, and he asked at the end of that video, the records that you never leave behind, you always pick up. Well, this might be the start. This is my third copy. One I gave away, one I have, and now I have the second copy of this. This is Profondo Rosso by Goblin. It used to be a very a record you found a lot at thrift stores, and I found my second copy at a thrift store. Why? Because of this label. This is a Dutch label. There you are, C&R, and they released it here in Holland, and probably it sold quite a lot of copies. Otherwise, you will not find this at a thrift store. That's it. Picked up another copy. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, though. It might be become part of some kind of competition or VCLT. Who knows? But that's my update. It's a lot of records. And I managed to do it in a pretty okay time, actually. Now I'm off to go downstairs, have something to drink, because I'm thirsty as hell. See you later. Bye-bye.